So having the North Node in Taurus, this is a life where your soul is being pulled towards what it takes for serenity, being pulled towards cultivating what is necessary to bring in stability and understanding, endurance on a very material, physical way. So, it's one thing to be emotionally endurant or mentally endurant. However, endurant with your physical capacities, endurant with and committed and dedicated to standing your ground, working towards certain goals that you have in place, making sure that you allow the time and all the resources necessary to bring to fruition that which really matters to you. And this can be almost like a foreign concept for a lot of people with this position, purely because having a South Node in Scorpio is on a very felt level, on a emotional, psychological, even a soul level here. The self knows what it's like very well to experience tumultuous conditions, to experience a feeling that things are being kept from you, to experience that not everyone's telling the truth, within your culture or your family or the world. Like there's conditions there that breed almost a sense of distrust or a feeling of things that are going to be changed or lost almost instantly. Having family members that potentially snap at the drop of a hat, or having someone who has historically had a lot of power over you, and that makes you feel like what's safe and what's the most reliable state to be in is one of not so much doubt as it is awareness and alertness, and not knowing when things are going to just kind of going to flip, like whether it's your own emotions and your life circumstances or the people around you. It's just that feeling of never quite knowing what is safe, and the only thing that's expected is a kind of change and a kind of some level of intensity and this like abrupt toing and froing, and not in like a Uranian or an Aquarian way, where things just happen instantly with not much attached to it. Like this is usually like things that really pull at the heartstrings, really pull on your psychological, the weight of your sort of psychological makeup, things that really test you on an inner level. Like this is what you experience and what you have experienced over and over again, what your family's experienced. This is a pattern that's ingrained in you in some way, and hence why this life, it is so much about this pull towards that which will allow you security, that which will provide you a sense of peace and serenity. And quite often people, especially in the earlier years with the Taurus North Node, will be drawn to that which appears to offer these things. So whether it's stability through money, or living out in a hinterland setting, or away from associations or anything that's overwhelming. Like it could be these things on an external level, and that's not a problem. That's completely fine, because that's what the soul's asking for, is a bit of time out and time to just be and understanding patience and cultivating, not feeling like you can be pushed around easily, or not feeling like anyone's going to force you to do anything. So there's this element there of wanting these things and being drawn to things that will allow this. However, at the very same time, on a very felt level, there's this subconscious expectation of trauma is a really strong word, and I'm going to be I'm trying to be selective here with what I'm trying to say, but experiencing not so much even bad things to happen, but not trusting that things can stay on like a homeostatic equilibrium kind of level. Like there's going to be almost like the rug is going to be ripped out from beneath your feet, like whether it's your partner's or in a job setting, or and this might not even be a conscious belief. This is quite often a subconscious expectation, because that's what the soul knows. Soul knows transformation and elements of crazy intense attachment to non-attachment. Like this is a polarity there that this soul knows, and it doesn't know what to trust. And this time it's allowing yourself to feel secure in whichever way is necessary for you, whatever way is going to be healthiest and the most progressive and fulfilling for you. And depending on aspects made to the nodal axis, what's squaring the nodes, or what houses the nodes sit in, usually can give a bit more of an indicator as to what may be sought after, or what might provide the best kind of outlets or resources to cultivate these things. However, at the core level, remembering that no matter where you seek these things, Taurus energy itself is that of stabilizing, of creating and providing, and it's quite often a very literal, physical, material, and not material as in clothes as such, it can be, but very literal, tangible forms of security. And there's nothing wrong with that, provided that it's not compensating for a lack of inner security. And it might take, whether it's lifetimes or decades or an intense few years or however long, it's really practicing and knowing that security at the most core level will come from within. And this is something that meditation is something that a lot of people with a strong Pluto or Scorpio can gain a wealth of support and information and guidance from. So, like, Buddhism itself, not that all meditation stems from Buddhism, but Buddhism stemming from the figure of the Buddha. Historically, he's known as a very strongly Taurean character. So although there's controversy, there's a thought that he is very strongly Taurean, and what his life was, what it involved was an abundance of indulgence, an abundance of all the material pleasures in the world, being a prince, and he ultimately felt that something was missing, and hence why non-attachment and all the things that he brought into Buddhism was more of a higher, more integrated perspective on security and inner peace. So he always, I feel like, in some ways occupied that Taurian archetype in a way. However, I feel like he elevated it to a point of an inner security, an inner stability, an inner serenity and simplicity, and I think if the material world isn't serving you fully, I'm not saying to detach from it, but if it's not giving you the kind of peace you're after, feelings of worth and contentment, then looking towards facets of Buddhism or facets of like the deeper psychological workings and understanding simplicity and minimalism and really looking a bit deeper might provide you with a wealth of insight, whilst allowing your Scorpionic South node to feel satisfied as well, because that part of you will still want to probe and understand and go deeper. And the nodal axis is never about ignoring our South node. Like, that is our past, that is our history, ancestrally, ourselves, whichever way you want to look at it. it is our history, and so making sure there's that scorpionic nature can come through in a way, but maybe transcending it into a instead of like this attachment and loss or control and surrender kind of dynamic, looking deeper into what's really driving the sense of the grievances and the sense of trauma, and looking to what's the real root of that, and then from that looking at what can come into one's life to cultivate some sort of security and stability and serenity. And there's so many ways these days to bring this into one's life, and it's understanding what works for you. Something that was around over 2,500 years ago, that might not serve you in totality, but elements of it might be perfect for you. At the very same time, looking for a lot of material comfort, that's fine too, but to be honest with yourself, I think, as to whether it truly serves your soul, and whether it is causing you more stress or more separation with others, or if it's blocking you in from others as well. Like, looking at all these things and understanding this dynamic between feeling completely not at ease or not trusting of this world, and also being propelled to what it is that's going to allow you to feel that way, and to continually over time go deeper into this is something I'd strongly suggest. So I might even just write a few different ideas in the description below as to what may help, what may serve you in some way to balance out this polarity, and to bring in a higher, more integrated form of Taurian energy, and hopefully that can give you a bit of insight into understanding this dynamic, and not being so much lost in the traditional astrological definition of the Scorpio Taurus polarity, and that's about emotional intensity and security. Like, look deeper into it and understand it a bit more, and then from there with your own investigations and your own insights that can unfold, then you can be guided towards what's going to work best for you. So hope to hear from you. Feel free to send anything at any time on YouTube or on Facebook, and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you.